Every month sees at least one major video game release with a multitude of smaller video games accompanying it. But we're not made of money. While the vast majority of MMOs and Gacha games remain free titles, many major blockbusters like Wo Long Fallen Dynasty or The Last of Us Part 1 are not. So we have to decide what games are actually worth investing our money into and which we should opt to leave until they're in the local Walmart discard bin for like $5. And March is arguably less packed with releases in February, but there are nevertheless 5 games that I believe truly stand out amongst the ocean of mediocrity, most of which fulfill different needs and very different genres. If you enjoyed this series and you want to remain up to date with new games, make sure to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and hit that little bell notification. Before we discuss every new game release that I'm excited for, I do want to thank all of our incredible patrons over on Patreon. You guys are incredible and I appreciate all of your guys' support. Also, if you have a moment, follow me over on Twitch. I stream there every weekend. Now, let's go ahead, jump in, and see if we can't find something to waste the next month in. After almost 12 years, The Legend of Heroes fans are finally getting to experience a major part of the franchise that they might have been missing had they not played this originally on the PSP, as NIS America has licensed a popular fan translation of the game and is bringing Trails to Azure to the PS4, the Switch, and PC this month. The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure follows the events of Trails from Zero, following a cast of both familiar and new characters as we bring forth closure to the Crossbell arc. Players will be able to experience new combat features that were introduced in Trails to Azure, including burst, back attacks, and even your own customizable car. For those of you that have cleared save data from Trails from Zero, you'll be able to import your save data into Trails to Azure, providing a different story experience, including additional event scenes and entirely new scenes altogether. I'll admit I haven't played all of the Legend of Heroes JRPGs. There's really just so many of them that I cannot fathom playing each and every title, but from what few I have, I can say that I've always come away pleasantly surprised. The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure will be launching onto the PS4, the Switch, and PC via Steam and the Epic Games Store on March 14th in North America, March 17th in Europe, and March 24th in Australia and New Zealand. Survival is just the beginning. Relive the nightmare that revolutionized survival horror. That is the tagline for Capcom's Resident Evil 4 remake, launching onto the PS4, the PS5, the Xbox Series, and PC. The Resident Evil games have always been riddled with gratuitous violence, but are also a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. My very first video game was actually Resident Evil for the PS1. I remember staying up till God knows what hour in the morning when I was a kid before school and being unable to sleep for the nights that preceded it due to how terrified I was to actually fall asleep, but also how captivated I was that I just couldn't put it down. Capcom's remake of Resident Evil 4 is a reimagining of the original game that released 18 years ago back in 2005, featuring an entirely reworked story, vividly detailed graphics, and modernized gameplay. Whether this is a good or bad thing is yet to be determined, but as a massive fan of the Resident Evil franchise, I will definitely be there day one. The Resident Evil 4 remake will be launching globally onto the PS4, PS5, Xbox Series, and PC via Steam on March 24th. The Last of Us is an international phenomenon. The video game franchise has sold close to 40 million copies as of March 2023, and the TV series by HBO has become one of the largest TV series in the world, and easily the most successful video game adaptation adapted into a TV series, perhaps even movie, in history. And while The Last of Us has been available on console for a while, players are going to be able to play the critically acclaimed game as part of Naughty Dog's more recent remaster on PC this month. According to Naughty Dog, the remaster has been entirely rebuilt from the ground up, and from what I saw from the PS5 version of the game, it does look quite different. The Last of Us tells the story of Joel and Ellie as they travel across the US on an epic road trip, hitting up all the most popular tourist spots and meeting all the friendly locals. The Last of Us Part 1 had already launched on the PlayStation platform, and while confirmed for a March 3 launch originally, was delayed on PC via Steam and the Epic Games Store until March 26th. I've been playing the Atelier video games since Atelier Iris Eternal Mana for PS2, the one with Klein and Lita. Then the Azoth of Destiny and Grand Phantasm after that. So when Atelier Ryza originally came out, and Ryza looked like she did, I was ecstatic. Now, I'll admit, the Atelier games have moved in a very different direction to what I would have expected, but Ryza has been such an overwhelming success for Gust and Koei that they keep on pushing these out almost yearly. The third installment, Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key, is a very dumb name, I'll admit, but continues from where its predecessor, Lost Legends and the Secret Fairy, left off. This game is touted as the final game featuring Ryza, with the subtext, the last summer adventure of the grown-up Ryza and her friends begins. Ryza 3 will feature a large open world, a multitude of different themed regions, all explorable without loading screens, 11 party members, and a whole lot more. This is Gust's most risky endeavor yet, and I'm very excited to see where this game goes. Atelier Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key is launching onto PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC via Steam on March 23rd within Japan, and then March 24th worldwide. Ravenbound is the final game in this list, and is also on Mrs. Dix's list of games that she's most anticipating this year. Ravenbound is an action roguelite set in a beautiful Scandinavian-themed fantasy world. The game features a unique deck building feature that provides you access to more powerful gear and weapons with each new life, which I know you're sitting there and thinking to yourself, what do you mean each new life? I know it's very confusing, but from what I've gathered, death is not the end. Rather, death offers us unique opportunities to change who we are and how we play. Honestly, Ravenbound is admittedly a very interesting game that does things that I've never seen done before, and also seems a lot more open and freeing than its competition. Ravenbound will be launching onto PC via Steam on March 30th, but if you're interested in trying the game out ahead of its launch, there is a demo available via Steam that lasts approximately an hour. And that is everything. Some of the best looking games slated to release fully this month. Which isn't to say that there aren't other titles that look equally as good or potentially even better. Admittedly, I probably missed one or two, that's bound to happen. If you're more interested in MMOs or Gacha games though, I got you covered with 2 different videos on screen right now. One featuring every MMO releasing this month, and one featuring every Gacha releasing this month. Yeah, I got you covered.